Today I'm painting a pike, a fish with amazing textures and sharp features. This one's going to be all about the contrast between smooth washes and those tiny scratchy details. I'm sure it will be a nice relaxing session. Let's dive straight in with cadmium yellow hue for the pike's undercoat. I'm going to lift some of the paint off the underside with a bit of kitchen roll to soak up the paint and leave a very soft hue. Now to make it look less like a banana and introduce olive green yellowish along the dorsal side. I'll strengthen that colour and add more water so the pigments can flow together. I'll splash a bit more of that colour in for some tonal variation. Pike have lots of little markings, almost like camouflage across their body. So I'm going to use more kitchen roll and dab at the paint to create those little speckled details. While that dries, I'll get to work on the fins. I've combined yellow ochre with a splash of orange. I'll start with the pectoral fins near the head, which act a bit like steering paddles. The pelvic fins further down the body. The dorsal fin along the back, which helps keep the fish steady as it cruises through the water. And finally the big caudal fin at the tail, the powerhouse for propulsion. Some yellow ochre now around the mouth. and gills. And that will contrast nicely with a touch of English red inside the mouth. With a fine brush, I'll outline a few areas using burnt umber, the mouth, the gill cover, and starting to shape the eye. I'll also drag some of that pigment into the fins. When I was growing up, I'd sometimes tag along with my brother when he went fishing. Not for pike, of course, normally something like trout. It would be ridiculously early in the morning, and we would head off by foot across fields to a river somewhere. It was always cold and normally foggy. And if I'm honest with you, I don't even know why I was there, because I don't fish. I'd normally just mess about on the riverbank. What I really remember is a little hand warmer he brought with him. It was a metal case covered with velvet, and it had a glowing hot charcoal stick inside. And I'd sit there in the freezing cold, holding it in my hands, just enjoying how lovely and warm it felt. I'll drop a little bit of that colour into the nostril and the eye as well. I'm going to try some Naples yellow along the underside of the jaw. Its faint pink warmth gives that fleshier feel. For the eye, I'll go in with yellow ochre, nothing too bright, keeping the tones earthy. Then sepia for the pupil. Carrying it lightly around the outer edge of the eye for a bit of presence. I like how much that sepia has defined the eye, so I'll continue it through a few more areas of the body for definition. Now for the head markings, I'll use permanent green. It's brighter than olive green yellowish, so it sparks that little bit of contrast and livens up the face. And for the pike's wonderful jelly bean pattern across the body, I'm mixing yellow ochre with cadmium yellow hue and dotting it through. Time to brighten up the fins and tail. Just a few strokes of English red through the dorsal and caudal fins. And a little in the gills to give this fish a pulse. That all looks fine, but I feel like it needs a little bit more depth. So I'll add cyan into the shadows, starting where the tail curves behind the body. Blending that out with water creates bluey hues that add to the fishiness of it all. I'll continue with a touch more of that cyan across the body to keep things consistent, just light enough so it doesn't overpower the other colours. And now I'll finish up with some pen, picking out details across the pike's body to give the painting a bit more movement. there we go, a sketchy watercolour pike. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.